Oak City Move is a podcast on WKNC's 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh where we highlight people and organizations creating positive change in the Triangle and beyond. Oak City Move can be heard on air every other Monday on 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh or online at wknc.org/listen. For episodes and more information, go to our blog at blog.wknc.org or follow us on SoundCloud at WKNC881. Hello, 88.1 WKNC Raleigh. The song you just heard was Sweaty Linen by Surf Ninja 3. I am Sophia Magnanini, your host, and you're listening to Oak City Move. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Laura Martin, the Chief Outreach Officer for Step Up Ministries. First off, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join me. And for listeners who may not be familiar, if you wanted to start by kind of explaining what Step Up Ministry is and your role in it.
Sure. We are at Step Up Ministry. We are a free community-based social impact organization, and we help people find employment. Once people are employed, we help whole families vision and set goals and accomplish those goals. So we have been around for about 37 years, and I have the role of being our Chief Outreach Officer, which means I get to do fun things like talk to you guys, go out into the community, meet people who want to volunteer, people who want to donate, people who might be partners or employers, or people who might want to participate in our programming.
That's awesome. You said you guys have been around for 37 years, right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about maybe what inspired the creation or how the organization has kind of evolved in that 37 years of helping the community?
Sure. We were founded by a church over on Oberlin Road called White Memorial Presbyterian Church. And originally we were a small group of grassroots people that were affiliated with a few different faith groups who had some temporary transitional housing. And so they didn't necessarily know everything about what they were doing, but they had some places for people to stay. And that's where our roots are. Over time, we've had an opportunity to grow to our own 501c3. We have 19 people on staff, and we run a whole array of programming that helps people to sustain employment and to build stable futures for their families and to have access to living wage jobs with benefits. Really just learning over time from being in relationships with people that it's cool to have a place to stay, but there's so much more to um, sustaining an income in a family, especially in a city like Raleigh, where we have a lot of affordability challenges right now, and it can be we have great jobs, but we don't always have easy access to those great jobs. So over time, we've learned a lot about how to help people get living wage jobs and sustain those jobs for their families.
That's great, especially hearing kind of started out as just people wanting to help those in their community and how it just evolved into bigger scale operation of that. And like you were saying, it is so important. Besides just getting jobs and housing, there's so much more that goes into that. And so it's really, really awesome that you guys are really helping keep these families stable, like even after helping them. What type of programs or services does Step Up Ministry offer to people experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity, or like you were saying with job markets and all that stuff too?
So for us, while we don't exclusively serve people who are homeless, lots of people who come to us are experiencing homelessness when they come to us. I think that's an important thing for people to understand is lots of people who are working, maybe working a couple of jobs, maybe really similar to you and I, and just can't afford a place to stay, or maybe in their cars, or maybe from house to house. So, just understanding that lots of different kinds of people who work in our community in lots of ways experience homelessness. Um, yeah, so our employment academy is open to everyone. So some people will be experiencing homelessness, anybody can come. And that employment academy is available every Tuesday night. We have free dinner, we have free childcare, and we have support from everything from how to interview for a job to getting help to get outfitted for your job to practicing for your interviews, scheduling your transportation, making sure maybe if it's virtual that you've got access to internet, you've got a device you can do that on, and if you don't, we provide that for you. Just really looking at each individual, what the barriers are for them, and trying to decrease those barriers as much as we possibly can. So our employment program is definitely something we're known for. Once people are employed, we have a program called Empower 48, and you can come and bring your kids to that program. It meets every Tuesday night, also dinner and childcare. It's really important for people who are working and who have kids to have that whole family approach, to give them time to focus on themselves. because if you're busy and you're trying to keep your job together and you have children, that can be challenging. So everything we do for adults, we also do for children. So kids are learning the same things that the adults are learning at age appropriate levels throughout our programming. And in that Empower 48, people are going to be really focused on there's lots of classes and lots of things they learn, but at its core, it's being confident, building up your self-esteem, building up your sense that you can achieve. So confidence, communication, practicing communicating with different kinds of people, practicing communicating in public, growing your leadership skills through communication, community building, right? So getting to know people across the community, and consistency, showing up every week and just developing habits that are going to really benefit you and your family. So those are our core four, and those are threaded throughout our programming. And we also offer some cool alumni programs for people that have graduated from those, and those include everything from art classes to homeownership classes to entrepreneurial and parenting approaches. Whatever our alumni are really interested in, we work with partners in the community to bring together those classes and make them available.
It's different for every person. There's different needs and requirements for every person. And so the way that you guys have so many different programs and ways to help them is really, really great and inspiring, especially with the kids you were saying, because like you were saying, these people, like they could have jobs and then are right now experiencing homelessness. And also, like if they have children, daycares are so expensive and stuff, like especially now. And so it's really hard to kind of balance that. And so it's really great that you guys are helping take that burden off.
Yeah, it's really mutually beneficial too. So we have
Mhm.
a lot of people who are on staff who serve as case managers. We have volunteers in the community who serve as instructors. We have volunteers who serve as co-partners. We have volunteers who take care of the kiddos. And, getting to know one another better and kind of understanding why is it hard for people? What is their situation?
Mhm.
And getting close to that, it's so good for us, those of us who come who want to help, to learn more about how to be helpful and to benefit from the beauty of some of those relationships, because a lot of people are working so hard and they're so resilient and they're creative and they're just amazing. They just have different backgrounds than we have.
I can imagine, yeah, it's a lot of learning from one another. Even like you were saying, the the workers, the staff there, the volunteers, they are also learning so much from the people that they are helping. And so it's just a great big community that's really just helping each other, which is really nice. You mentioned earlier a little bit about how you guys kind of help to address the long-term stability and independence of these people. If you wanted to go kind of more into that.
Yeah. So one thing about Step Up is, we're trying to know people over several years, right? And everything we do is built to have a next step. So if you get a job through us, awesome. You can also come and let's figure out what you want to do with that job. Let's put a plan together around what else you want to add. And you can do that. When you graduate, you can come to alumni. You can do a Toastmasters club. You could do a parenting class. You could learn to buy your own home or start a business. If you're good with that, then you could be one of our ambassadors. We have a couple people every year that serve as ambassadors, and they're trained to tell their stories and to public speak, and they're amazing people, and they serve formally as ambassadors for a year for us. After you've served as an ambassador, you might want to join our board. We always have a couple people who have come through our programming that serve on our board. And so there's always a next thing that you can do. And I think, just believing that people are going to accomplish what they set out to accomplish, and having something to move forward to as part of our culture, always having a next step.
Just having the support and that support system can really change how people feel and how they feel about themselves. So it really is awesome that you guys create these long form bonds to help keep them going.
One thing that's really nice too is a lot of our alumni, the very first thing that they want to do once they've gotten themselves stable is to help other people. It's very common. And so I have the great pleasure of going out in the community to events like at Chavis Park or downtown, and there'll be all these different nonprofits there. And I always see at least 3 or 4 alumni, and maybe they're working, I don't know, maybe they're working as recovery support at Southlight, or maybe they're a peer support specialist who's guiding some people out through the community. Maybe they're working in a children's organization. But I run into alumni just all over the community who have found ways to sustain that giving back. And so that always feels good, as far as like the impact resonates beyond just that moment of help into all of the things that that person goes on to do in the community. And we have some really accomplished alumni. I'm very proud of some of the people that I know who have who have been our alumni.
It's really great because it's almost turns into this cycle of just helping one another and helping the community, giving back to those that need. The community and the family that you guys build. Can you kind of walk us through what a typical day might look like for someone that's participating in Step Up's ministry or like the programs? I know you're saying how certain days they have Tuesdays come.
Yeah, I think I'll stick with. We have so many different types of people who come. I think I'll stick with like what a Tuesday's like for
Okay.
us. So, Tuesday is so much fun at Step Up, and we would love to invite anybody listening to come out and join us on Tuesday nights for a tour. We always have people who are coming to visit us, but on Tuesday evenings, people begin to arrive on campus, and we have dinner together. So everyone's coming in and welcoming each other and catching up with friends and going through a dinner line and sitting down together. And we have a time where we share joys with one another. We just share what's going on in our lives that's joyful. It's a very welcoming and open community. We enjoy each other's company, and there's people from lots of walks of life. After dinner, people begin to head toward their classes. The kids are in the gym playing or in the nursery learning how to sit together at the table and eating their goldfish and hanging out. But there's a strong family feel to that, because the kids are always around. People make their way to their classes, they check in with their friends and with volunteers, and they get ready to settle into their topic for the night. Generally, there's 4 classes going on, and one of those classes is going to be getting people introduced to Step Up. People are constantly starting for us, and so we run they say 48 weeks, and so during that time, some people are learning how to use community resources and they're getting to know one another and they're in the beginning phases of putting their plans together. And other people are doing budgets for the first time and they're getting into financial planning and goal setting. Other people have got their budgets down and they've started to work on their goals and they are now talking about building boundaries and building supports and what kinds of things they want to keep in their life and what kinds of things they want to release. And then there's another group of people who are preparing to graduate and they are working on putting together career plans and thinking about next steps. Overall, you'd find that it's a really chatty night. There's lots of conversation going on. There's lots of the best kind of learning, right? Those aha moments where people kind of just confront what's going on in their lives and decide what they want to do about it. And that's always got some kids running around in the background in the gym and in the nursery.
That sounds so nice. Like people are constantly bouncing off one another because, like you're saying, how there's always new people, and then the people in different steps of the program that can help, like, give them this confidence about how they might, what they need to get to the next steps. And it's also just really great the family aspect that you're saying, how it just feels all like a big family and probably makes the newcomers way, way more comfortable and excited to start this new step in their life.
Yeah, I think I don't know how it is right now. I'll just confess I'm 54, right? So I'm a different generation than you, but I find it so refreshing that there's a space where people come together and we're just agreeing to not judge each other.
Hmm.
And it allows for a lot of room for people to be vulnerable and be authentic and not have to put on too much of a mask. And I just appreciate a lot being in a community where we agree at the beginning that we're not judging each other.
Hmm. Because I feel like you probably give a lot of these people their dignity back, make them feel like they are actual people because they've probably encountered a lot of people that make them feel lesser or that instead of helping them, they just judge them. And which is just not helpful in any way. And so it's really great just yeah, having a judgment-free zone for everyone to open up and be who they can and who they want to be. And that's really awesome that you allow space for that. Does Step Up Ministry kind of collaborate with any other nonprofits or local businesses?
We collaborate with so many people. So we have about 35 primary partners, and those are different organizations in the community that help us with different resources. And we have memorandums of understanding with them where we kind of know we're going to do this part and you're going to do this part. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, Green Chair Project might help us get furniture for somebody that's got an apartment for the first time. Women who are coming, well, people who identify as women who are coming through our employment program, they're outfitted by Dress for Success. And so that's a great partnership that we have that allows women to just look great and get great support for their job search. We have partnerships with Wheels for Hope so that people can have access to cars. We have partnerships with the diaper bank of North Carolina so that parents have diapers on site, note in the pocket so that parents have access to clothing. And all that's just baked in to what we do. So those resources are just there and available. We also have a whole level of partners that help us with content, who have expertise, like maybe Self-Help Credit Union might come out and teach one of the homeownership classes because they're really expert at that. We collaborate with the City of Raleigh, and you guys will be welcome anytime to join us if you check out Community Cares Collaborative. We host a lunch every other month with the City of Raleigh where we invite out the community leaders, nonprofit leaders, and we have a topic that's of interest and a lunch that we host, and it's a free space and time to network and get to know what's going on in the community. That lets us stay kind of in touch with a big group of people who are doing this work so that we know each other well. We can help address gaps as we need to. When people are new to the sector, they don't have to waste a lot of time trying to figure out who does what, right? So we do that every other month, and it's called Community Cares Collaborative. And we work with the city to help staff some positions that they have. We work with the Raleigh Summer Youth Employment Program. We teach in the Raleigh Summer Youth Employment Program. I didn't mention this, but we have a freestanding program for people 16 to 21 that does all the same kinds of things, but focused on young adults. And so we have a lot of resources that we're able to share there. Colleges invite us out for tours. Um, Lots of partners come in and teach.
No,
Yeah,
that's
there's no way we could do this without a whole ecosystem of other people and resources. And so that's one thing that we really help with the people who participate in our program is helping guide them to the things that they need and having those relationships in place to make it easy.
that's so amazing because, like you were saying earlier, it's just another step of helping make sure that they have stability and what they need. And that's really cool. I have also interviewed Note in the Pocket and Green Chair beforehand, and they also had mentioned how they work with you guys, which is just really cool. Kind of the connections and the big community with all the nonprofits around the Raleigh area and North Carolina. It's really amazing to see everyone working together to make sure that the community is getting what they need. And
Yeah, we're so fortunate here in the Triangle area in that we have a lot of local organizations that help connect leaders and that help us stay close to each other and to support each other, right? So it really is a collaborative environment, and that's so refreshing. Like I can think of, so many times in my own career, my own life, where reaching out to those partners has been important, not just to my work, but to me as a person, right? In order to stay motivated and to stay focused, and you need one another. And we've got Leadership Triangle helps do that. We've got community leaders drinking coffee that helps do that. I mean, there's just so many different places and ways that if you want to have the support of your peers, you can.
what are some kind of, this is kind of two questions that I'm going to put together, but what are some kind of common misconceptions people have about homelessness that your work helps challenge? And then what changes would you like to see at the local or systematic level to better address this homelessness?
I think recognizing that people who are going through homelessness are people just like us.
Hmm.
It's not some big difference. Anybody can go through homelessness. Anybody can experience homelessness, and just radical compassion for that, right?
Hmm.
Thinking about that person that you pass by on the interstate that's flying a sign, that's somebody's family member, right?
Hmm.
That's somebody that's important to a lot of people. And really maintaining our own humanity is so important to us, right? Really thinking about each person as a person.
Hmm.
I think people too, there's a misconception that again, that working people aren't homeless. I mean, there's lots of people that we interact with every day who are working, who are also experiencing homelessness. And I think as a community, we just got to keep working on creative ways to leverage big organizations and government and community to produce affordable housing, right? We have to do that because we have to have places that people can afford to live. Um, and that takes land and that takes capital and that takes lots of community willpower. And so I think all of us have to stay very focused on how can we use the resources that we have and encourage big organizations to use the resources that they have to help us produce more housing.
Because, like you were saying, at the end of the day, it's just compassion and humanity for other human beings, recognizing and having the empathy to recognize this is someone's child, this is someone's family member, this is someone who someone loves and cares about, especially in the political state of the US. We're seeing a lot of just very no empathy for these people, but they are just like you and me, and a lot of people are always like, when it comes to homelessness, they're like, well, they should just get a job or something. But like you were saying, a lot of times people that have jobs can experience homelessness. And so it's just this kind of, like you're saying, humanity and wanting to help and wanting to care, being able and willing enough to have that empathy, which is really great that what you guys are doing.
You're right about right now though, we've got to you have to get proximate to things you don't understand. Because it might be hard to understand why somebody doesn't have a job, but if you go and get to know them within 10 minutes, it will be really easy to see why it's hard for them, right? How
Mhm.
maybe they don't. If you have advantages, sometimes it's really hard to understand how many advantages you have, right? And
Yeah.
so I think part of these relationships is just kind of understanding what the other person is going through, because 9 times out of 10, after about 10 minutes, it's real clear to understand why someone is having a hard time.
hmm It is, yeah, like you were saying, almost recognizing your privilege and then using that privilege to help those who are under. And it's just something that I think the US and the world in general can really learn from. But
Yeah, I feel so grateful just to have access to this community, right?
mhm,
I think that's for me, it keeps me human. It keeps me human to be together with other people who have kind of agreed that, yeah, we're about all of us.
knowing that you're with people that care about each and every other person in the room. As we kind of come up towards the end of our chat, if you wanted to let us know about any upcoming events, fundraisers, programs, or how listeners can get involved in their own way, or maybe volunteer, support, anything of the sorts.
The very best opportunity we have is an ongoing opportunity. So every Tuesday evening, we host tours at Step Up, and my colleague Dana and I have a pleasure of meeting lots and lots of different kinds of people. It's an open invitation. All in the world you have to do is email us and say, "Hey, I'd like to take a tour." We'll give you all the details. It's every Tuesday evening. It starts at 6 o'clock and it runs until 7:15. And we eat a meal together. So, it's a nice way to come together, be in community, eat a meal, and see all the different things we do. And I say that because, you know, to come and see makes it so much easier for people to understand how they might want to get engaged, and might want to be part of that community. So every Tuesday night, tours are available. We do have our big impact luncheon coming up June 1st, which is one of the big ways that we fundraise. We have lots of opportunity for people to help us in a lot of different ways. So you could reach out to us and find out how you could get involved with helping with our impact luncheon. We have volunteer opportunities, the Community Cares Collaborative that I mentioned. If you're not in class on a Friday, it's a great way to come out. You can volunteer, you can sign people in and be a friendly face, and then you can eat lunch with us and hang out and talk about the topic that we're talking about. It's a nice way to feel engaged in the community and see the bigger, larger efforts. So whether you want to come and take a tour and get involved one-on-one, or whether you'd like to drop in and volunteer in an event, I just would love to see people get engaged. I think what we do is pretty cool, and it's even better. It's even better with new, different people.
That's awesome. Thank you so much again for coming and talking about this amazing topic. The work that you guys do for the community overall is just
Oh
awesome.
yeah, on behalf of all of us here at Step Up, I mean, thanks so much for inviting us and for taking time to think about your community and taking time to help us get the word out that we're here if people need help finding jobs.
As we come up on the end of our chat, I want to thank you all again for listening, as well as Laura for coming in and talking about her amazing organization that she's a part of. It's truly amazing, just the humanity, the work that comes into it, the compassion, the community. They just deserve all the recognition. Thank you all for listening to Oak City Move. I'm your host, Sophia Magnanini, and if you're interested in listening to this episode again or to past episodes of the show, you can go to wknc.org/podcast and make sure to tune into our show every other Monday on WKNC 88.1 FM Raleigh. Have a great day, y'all.